Hey guys, hope y'all doing good today. So in today's video, I'm going to give you a weekly market update, what I'm looking at over the next few days, and go over some technical analysis for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. So first of all, if you guys aren't in my private group, the link is in the description and pinned in the comments as well. I go over a lot more things, more live streams, calls, courses, and a lot more content. So definitely guys, check it out if you haven't, in the description or in the pinned comments. But without further ado, the 24-hour liquidations are 279 million, so longs were mostly liquidated over the past 24 hours, but they are gaining some ground. Now, the thing to keep in mind is it is Tuesday the 28th right now, which the past 12 Tuesdays have been red in the market. So let's see if this Tuesday is any different. Remember, we have some big things coming up. We have the FOMC meeting October 29th, where Powell is expected to cut rates, and JP Morgan even says that he could potentially end quantitative tightening. They are expecting that, which that is the big trigger for alt season, guys. So keep that in mind. There is a lot of potential with that if quantitative tightening does end. Also, we have Trump meeting with President Xi October 30th for the tariff negotiations, which they've already said that they respect each other, and there's already positive negotiations coming from Treasury Secretary Bessent and one of China's advisors as well. So things are looking good on that. And then also we have the Solana ETF for Hong Kong that was actually just launched yesterday. And we have the Ethereum staking ETF for BlackRock actually coming out October 30th for its final deadline. So I do believe that'll get approved because their record is 575 to 1. Now, let's go and look at the liquidation data. So the liquidation heat map here on the 24-hour, you can see 115.3K, and then above that 116K. Now remember, we do have a CME gap on Bitcoin over the weekend. It was 111.1K, so we didn't quite reach that. Below here we do have some liquidation clusters near 113 and 112.6. So let's see if we do get a dip. Now, like I said, we have a lot of positive catalysts this week, so unless there's something where maybe Powell doesn't say what we want to hear, or there's some type of unexpected events, that could take us a little lower, but things tentatively are looking good. Now we can also look at the 1 week just so we can get a better view of where that liquidity is at. But if you look at the 1 week here, you can see that Bitcoin actually has more liquidity to the downside, and a lot of it was actually hit to the upside. So like I said, potentially we could still tag some of these lower levels, but really for the 1 week, there's not too much liquidity clusters near the upside or downside here. Now let's go and look at a few other indicators. So the fear and greed index, it's at 42 right now. Remember, whenever this is in neutral, usually that's when things are more choppy, right? When it's in the fear area, that's when you have good buying risk reward wise. That's the time when you buy dips. Again, one of the things to watch out for is, if we do end up going to the greed area, that's when you're really going to start seeing things accelerate, and you want to start thinking about taking some profits, especially if it gets to extreme greed. That's really when you want to start taking those profits. But neutral, at least, we do have some more room to the upside. Now, if you look at the ETF flows, actually, yesterday, you can see Bitcoin's ETF flows. Now, if we go ahead and refresh the page here, because on Friday it was 90 mil. So it was very, very good for Friday. You can see on the 27th, it was 149 million, guys. Yesterday, we had a lot of good inflows for Bitcoin. That tells you institutional flows are back and they are confident in Bitcoin. Now, if we look at Ethereum was negative last week. So I'm very curious to see if those things change for Monday. So right now you can see for Ethereum, 133 million, so barely under Bitcoin right now, but those flows are back. You can see how many negative flows we had for Ethereum. Now we're finally getting some good positive flows. Let's see if these can maintain this week. I do believe they will, especially because the Ethereum staking ETF deadline is October 30th for BlackRock. I do believe that will get approved, so stay tuned for that. Now, looking at the charts real quick, so Bitcoin did actually bounce off of its 50 EMA on the daily. Very, very bullish on that. The only thing to watch out for is the stock RSI here. It is overbought, so potentially a little pullback there, but as you can see, it has maintained overbought for a while, especially during periods of sustained bull momentum. So that could very well happen here, especially as the RSI isn't really topped out. It's only at 53, so still has room to go to the upside. But nonetheless, if you're looking to buy Bitcoin, 113.2K is a good level, and then below that 112K, and then obviously that 111.1K over here with that CME gap. I can imagine it would bounce from there. Now resistance wise, still this 114.2K does provide some resistance, but the major resistance is 116 to 117K. Once we break that, it's off to the races. But the this confirmation here and this shift in the trend does mean that we could potentially go much higher. Now let's go ahead and look at Ethereum and then look at Solana. So Ethereum looking very good. Again, it had a nice little bounce off of its major support near 40.60. It actually got to 40.64. Now it's looking to cross back above its 50 EMA on the daily. Now, a big thing I want to point out, guys, is this RSI here. You can see that it did cross to the upside, broke this trend line, and also crossed above its signal line. So very bullish price momentum from the RSI. And the stock RSI, I actually drew this a couple days ago, kind of exponential curve here that usually happens for price, and I actually outlined this on the stock RSI, and you can see it's playing to a T. And so this is what you want to see, guys. You want to see this exponential momentum. Potentially could reach around 4,400, but we're just going to have to wait and see. But I do expect to top out at least sometime this week. And remember, we are in this big bull flag for Ethereum, you can see. So it's very close to breaking out here, guys. Once we can break and close above 40, I'll say 4,500, it's off to the races after that. I believe that will be the confirmed breakout, and we're going much higher to all-time highs after that for Ethereum. And the beginning of November should be very fruitful. Now, as far as Solana, so Solana is one of those tokens that it's not doing too bad. Like I said, it released its the Hong Kong ETF launched on the 27th. Right now, it does look like it wants to cross above its 50 EMA on the daily. So this does look bullish, guys. I'm not going to lie. This looks very good. The only thing is the stock RSI is overbought. But like I said, this could stay overbought for an extended period of time. Solana could still increase because the RSI isn't really overbought. I mean, it's still more or less neutral at 51. So the big resistance, if it can close above this 50 EMA, I would be looking for at least this 208, 209 level as a big resistance, and then after that 215. As far as support is concerned, I would look around 192 if you're looking to buy some there, and then below that around this 182 level, and then 175 is the major support. So those are the levels I'm looking at, guys. Again, that's a quick summary of everything. I go into more depth on all of this in my private group. Like I said, if you want to join, the link's in the description or pinned in the comments. So we go over a lot of stuff in there. But thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate all the support. Please like the video if you liked it, and I'll give you more of these updates down the line. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.